My name is Fernando Alvarez. I'm 61, retired. A man who's fixed more broken pipes and busted walls than anyone in this family will ever acknowledge. I married Serena late, after we'd both outlived our first mistakes. I thought that made us even. I was wrong. I was never her son's father. That much was clear from the start. Logan made sure I knew it. He was 13 when we met. Now he's 32. Still walking like a linebacker, still convinced the world owes him a second shot at glory. He never called me Dad. Not once. Just Fernando. Cold, dismissive. Like I was the neighbor she never should have let stay for dinner. But that night, Christmas Eve, snow smothering Buffalo in silence, I realized being tolerated is not the same as being loved. The table was set, gold-rimmed china, roasted turkey steaming, soft jazz humming from the speaker. Serena refused to replace even when it buzzed like a dying fly. The chair was in its place. My father's chair. Walnut. Hand sanded. I had restored it myself after hospice took him and silence moved in. I took my spot at the head of the table. Then it happened. Not there, Logan snapped. I looked up. He was standing over me. Serena stood in the kitchen doorway, napkins in her hand, pretending to check the gravy boat. That seat's for my dad, Logan said. My real dad. I blinked. Excuse me. He shoved me. 2 hands. Hard. No warning. My back slammed the floor. The chair screeched sideways. Gravy arced through the air and splattered down my shirt. The room gasped. A fork clinked off porcelain. Even the Christmas lights seemed to stop blinking. I lay there, wind knocked out, staring at the ceiling like it held answers. Nobody helped me up. Serena crouched, not for me, but for the napkins. She wiped the floor with quiet efficiency, like that was the real tragedy here. Her mouth, a thin practice line. Years of holding this family together, fixing leaky sinks, driving. Logan home drunk from bars he wasn't supposed to be in, buying Serena a new kitchen when the old one embarrassed her in front of guests. And now I was lying on the floor, dismissed like a spilled drink. Get up, Logan muttered, stepping over me like garbage on the curb. I rose slowly, my hip throbbing. My hand shook, not from pain, from clarity. Someone once told me, you only know what matters when someone tries to take it from you. That chair mattered, not because it was mine, but because it stood for something older than all of us. Legacy, place, truth. I looked at it, scraped, knocked out of line, and I knew one thing. If he wants to know whose chair this really is, he better be ready for the truth. The room emptied fast. No one looked at me. They cleared the plates, left the laughter hanging midair like something broken. Serena disappeared upstairs. Logan headed for the garage like he always did, his getaway when the mood soured. I stayed there a beat longer, standing alone beside the toppled chair. My father's chair. A piece of me. The fabric on the arm was torn. A man spends his whole life building peace in silence, and then one shove turns him into a memory no one will fight for. Cut. I carried the chair to the garage myself. The cold hit harder than expected, air sharp like glass. The light overhead flickered as I placed the chair down by the workbench. My hands ran over the worn wood. One deep scratch from a Christmas 10 years ago. Another from when Logan tried to balance a beer bottle on it and cracked the edge. It had survived everything. Until tonight. I reached for a cloth, started wiping down the surface, mindlessly, methodically, as if cleaning the mess would undo the insult. My phone buzzed on the bench. Unknown number. I opened it. Just one line. Stop digging. You don't want to end up like him. I stared. Heart kicked hard. I turned toward the door. Closed. Locked. The garage window. Still. No movement. But the air changed. Every instinct screamed. You're not alone in this anymore. Cut. I checked the camera feed from the backyard. Nothing but snow and a frozen swing creaking in the wind. My fingers trembled over the screen. I tried calling the number back. Disconnected. I opened my old file box shoved behind paint cans. dusty, untouched for years. Inside, photo albums, receipts, documents. I wasn't looking for anything in particular, just something real. Proof I existed in this family, that I hadn't imagined the years, the effort. That's when I found it. A photo, folded, torn at the corner. Logan, maybe 24, laughing next to a man in a flannel coat and baseball cap. Back porch, a beer in his hand. The face froze me. Bryce Carter, his real father, dead for over a decade, supposedly killed in a car accident, closed casket, no autopsy. But this photo, the timestamp on the back, 3 months ago, cut. I sat down hard, legs giving out, my breath misted in the cold garage. I flipped the photo again and again, like the truth might change. What the hell was going on? I stepped back inside the house. Serena stood at the top of the stairs, watching, too still, too quiet. "What is it?" she asked. I held up the photo. "Where was this taken?" She didn't blink. "You've been going through my things now?" "That's Bryce, isn't it?" "No, it's not," she snapped, too fast. It's just someone who looked like him." My voice dropped. "It was taken 3 months ago." Silence. A muscle in her jaw jumped. "People see ghosts all the time," she said. "Ghosts don't text warnings." Cut. Her eyes darted behind me. I turned. Nothing. There. I didn't sleep that night. Not in our bedroom. Not in the house. I pulled the chair deeper into the garage, locked the door from the inside, sat with it, ran my fingers along the back panel, tapped. A hollow sound. I'd fixed that chair myself. Knew every bolt and screw. But now, I unscrewed the bottom, carefully, slowly. Inside, wedged into the frame, wrapped in wax paper, was something I hadn't put there. A flash drive. And a note. "Don't trust anyone, especially her." I held it like it was a bomb. The garage light flickered again. I plugged the flash drive into my old laptop. Breath shallow, heart pounding. One folder, one file. Bryce Carter last message move. I clicked play. Bryce appeared, older, unshaven, but alive, sitting in what looked like a motel room, gray walls and cheap blinds behind him. "If you're watching this," he said, voice low, serious, "it means they think I'm dead. They want it that way. And if Serena's in the room, get out now." I froze. Then footsteps. Upstairs. Moving fast. Bedroom door slammed. I ejected the drive, grabbed my keys, started the car. But before I could pull out of the driveway, my phone buzzed again. "Same number. You opened it. Now you can't close it. Someone else knows I found it, and they're already inside my house." I didn't go far. Just down the block. Parked in the shadows under a dead streetlight, snow tapping the windshield, engine off, breath fogging the glass, heart pacing like it had its own countdown. The flash drive sat in my coat pocket, burned through fabric. You don't sit on a loaded gun and pretend it's furniture. I stared at my house. One bedroom light still on. Serena's. Maybe, maybe not. I didn't call the cops. What would I say? "Hi, my dead wife's ex might be alive and someone's crawling through my garage." No, this had to be handled quietly, clean. I knew how to fix things. But this wasn't drywall. Cut. I waited until the light went out, waited 10 more minutes. Then I moved. Keys silent. Door creaked once, too loud. Inside, nothing. Still. I grabbed the chair from the corner, tools from the drawer, sat on the floor like a man about to perform an autopsy on his own legacy. 4 screws. A small wooden panel came loose from underneath. Reached in. A second flash drive, and something else, folded in plastic. A deed. I unwrapped it. Familiar seal. Legal document. Transfer of ownership. To Bryce Carter. But the date. 4 months ago. The house. My house. Our house. Transferred under Serena's signature. My name wasn't on it. My jaw clenched. "I didn't lose control," I whispered. "They took it, while I was holding the door open for them." Cut. Laptop on, new USB in. No password, just a folder. Echo protocol. Inside, images, scans, blueprints, wire transfers, offshore accounts. Then one file, video again, Bryce. This time, looking over his shoulder every 3 seconds. If this falls into the wrong hands, they'll paint me the villain. But you need to know, this house, this family, it's part of something bigger. Serena knew. She helped cover it. If you're watching this, Fernando, you're already in danger. The screen flickered. Another file popped up, encrypted. I clicked. Access denied. Required password. Legacy. I typed it. A loading bar appeared. 37%. Then, power flickered. Screen went black. My breath caught. I froze. Behind me, footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. I turned, flashlight in hand. Who's there? Silence. Then, a soft knock from inside the garage door. Tap, tap, tap. 3 beats. Like a countdown. I stepped forward. Quiet. 1 step. 2. The knob jiggled. I reached for the baseball bat I kept behind the tool rack. Another knock. Then, silence. I opened the door, fast, empty, but something was wedged in the doorframe. A photo. Another one. Logan, with Bryce. Same porch, different shirt, same smile. The timestamp. 2 weeks ago. My vision blurred, not from tears, from heat. Rage. I backed into the garage, closed the door, locked it, sat on the stool, staring at the chair. That goddamn chair. I knew then. I hadn't been invited into this family. I'd been installed. Like furniture, like cover, like bait. The lights in the garage flickered again. Phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. How deep are you willing to dig before you're buried? I looked at the chair, looked at the deed, looked at the photo. Someone else knows I found it, and they're already inside my house. The knock wasn't loud. That was the problem. 3 taps. Soft. Measured. Like whoever stood on the other side already knew I was listening. I killed the laptop screen. Darkness swallowed the garage. The only sound was my breathing, too fast, too shallow. I gripped the bat tighter, wood against sweat-slick palms. Another knock. Closer this time. I remembered something an old foreman once told me on a night shift when alarms kept tripping for no reason. Fear isn't loud. It waits for permission. I didn't give it any. I yanked the door open. Cold air punched my face. Snow blew sideways under the floodlight. Empty driveway. No footprints. No shadow slipping away. Just the hum of the transformer down the street. I stepped out anyway. That's when I heard it. Metal scraping concrete. Behind me. I spun. The garage door was rising. Slow. Mechanical. Someone had hit the opener from inside the house. I ran. The door reached waist height as I slid under it. Shoulder clipping the edge. Pain flared. I rolled, came up swinging. A man bolted from behind the workbench. Black jacket, mask. He moved fast, trained fast. Not a burglar, not a drunk kid. He lunged. I swung the bat. Missed. He grabbed my wrist. Strength like a vice. Drop it, he hissed. I need him hard. He grunted. The bat clattered. We went down together, crashing into shelves. Tools rained like shrapnel. I got a hand on his face. Ripped the mask free. Marcus Vane. My stomach dropped. Bryce's old friend, business partner, the one who died in the same accident. Closed casket, same funeral. Marcus stared at me, eyes wide for half a second before he twisted free and ran. I chased him out into the snow. Slipped, fell hard. By the time I got up, his car tore down the street, taillights swallowed by white. I stood there shaking, snow soaking my knees, the truth slamming into place. Dead men don't run. Cut. Back inside, I locked everything. Doors, windows, deadbolts. I leaned against the wall until my pulse slowed enough to think. On the floor near the bench lay his phone. Cracked screen. Still unlocked. I picked it up. Messages scrolled past. Codes, times, addresses. Then a voice memo. I pressed play. Serena's voice filled the garage. Low. Controlled. He's getting close. she said. If he finds the second drive, we'll need to stop him. My legs went weak. I slid down the wall, phone still playing, her voice looping like a knife turned slowly. I thought of another thing I'd learned the hard way. The most dangerous lies are the ones spoken softly because they sound like care. Cut. I wiped the phone clean. Bagged it. Evidence. If I was going to burn this down, I'd do it right. I checked the cameras again. Nothing. But that meant nothing now. I went upstairs. Serena's bedroom door was closed, light on underneath. I stood there listening. Heard drawers opening, closing. Too fast. Packing. I knocked once. Silence. I knocked again. Fernando, she called, voice tight. Now's not a good time. When is it? I asked. The door opened a crack. Her eyes flicked to the hallway, to the stairs, to the front door. You shouldn't be in the garage, she said. You shouldn't be lying to me, I said back. Her jaw set, the look I'd seen only twice before. Once when her mother died, once when Logan got arrested and she talked the judge into leniency. Survival mode. Marcus is unstable, she said. Bryce was worse. I did what I had to. For who? I asked. She didn't answer. That was answer enough. Cut. She brushed past me, grabbing her coat. I caught her wrist. She froze. Let go, she said quietly. Whose idea was it? I asked. The house, the chair, using me. Her eyes finally met mine. It was easier if you stayed in your place, she said. Place. The word echoed. I let go. She walked out without looking back. I stood there alone in the hallway, surrounded by years I suddenly saw clearly. Every silence, every dismissal, every time I thought patience was strength. I went back to the garage, sat on the stool, stared at the chair. A man can survive a lot if he believes the story he's telling himself. Tonight, that story died. I picked up the phone Marcus dropped, scrolled one last time. A new message came in. Unknown number. You were never meant to sit there. I smiled for the first time that night. Serena didn't just lie to me. She planned everything. I left the house at 4:17 a.m. No headlights, no engine sound, just cold tires over frozen asphalt, the kind of cold that feels like silence pressing down on your lungs. I drove north, up past the edge of Buffalo, toward my father's old hunting cabin, the one no one knew about except him, and now me. A man should always keep one thing no one can touch. That's what he used to say. Your silence is your last weapon. I never thought I'd use it. Cut. The road disappeared into pine and ice. When I reached the gate, I parked behind the tree line. Car off. Trunk popped. The chair came with me. It wasn't symbolic anymore. It was practical. Its weight kept me focused, grounded. Inside the cabin, it smelled like cedar and thyme. I flicked the breaker. Lights buzzed to life. I dropped the chair in the middle of the room. Then I opened the old floor safe beneath the rug. The combination hadn't changed. Click, click, open. Inside, a fireproof box. Inside the box, a printed folder labeled Last Estate Notes, B. Carter, Bryce's handwriting. Clean, tight, precise. It wasn't just notes. It was a list. Names, dates, bank accounts, transfers, LLC shell companies. One at the top, Marcus Vane. One at the bottom, Serena Alvarez. My hands went numb. Cut. There was a letter, folded inside the back page. Written to someone, not me. If this ever gets out, make sure the chair ends up back in the right hands. They'll know what to do with it. I read it twice. Then a third time. The chair wasn't furniture. It was a courier. Cut. The wind outside shifted. Something heavy moved past the window. I killed the lights. Pulled my Glock from the drawer. Registered. Clean. The door creaked. Footsteps on the porch. I backed into the shadows. The knob turned. Slow. Then a voice. I know you're in there, Fernando. Her voice. Serena. I didn't speak. She tried again. You weren't supposed to see that list. Still. Nothing. I protected you, she said. You don't understand what Bryce was doing. What Marcus became. I stepped into the frame, gun lowered, not aimed. She was soaked. No coat, eyes wide, red, not from tears, from rage, or fear, or both. I read the transfer deed, I said. My name's not on the house anymore. It hasn't been for months. You were never in danger until you started poking around. Marcus attacked me. You called him unstable. Because he is. You called Bryce worse. She hesitated. Then, because he knew too much. Cut. I held up the list. You're on it. Her face didn't twitch. Not even a blink. I did what I had to protect my son. I laughed, dry, ugly. You protected him by laundering money through a fake trust? You call that parenting? You don't get to lecture me, she snapped. You were just the placeholder. That landed, but I didn't flinch. You know what my father used to say? I said. Legacy isn't what you leave behind, it's what you hide. She took a step forward. I can fix this, she said. No, I said. You can't. She lunged. I sidestepped. She hit the chair, fell to the floor. I aimed the gun at the window, because that's when I saw him. Marcus, watching. Cut. He raised a phone. Flash. He'd recorded everything. Then he turned, vanished into the trees. I ran outside, slipped, caught myself. Tracks in the snow, vanished down the ravine. Gone. Back inside, Serena sat slumped on the floor, breathing heavy. You think you've won, she said. I don't need to win, I said. I just need the truth out. I loaded the chair back into the truck, grabbed the file, the flash drives, and locked the cabin behind me. If this ends tonight, it won't end quietly. The courthouse sat quiet beneath a pale winter sun. Not a flake fell, but the wind bit through coats and skin like truth through silence. A line of press vans clogged the street, cameras poised, reporters murmuring. I walked between them with the chair in my arms. No police escort, no lawyer beside me, just this chair and the truth sitting inside it. Marley met me at the top of the courthouse steps, her breath visible, hands buried in coat sleeves, eyes unsure but steady. You ready for this? She asked. No one's ever really ready to burn down what they built, I said. But some things don't deserve to stand. Cut. Inside, security wanded me. Flash drive sealed in an evidence bag. Documents in hand. I passed Logan in the hallway. He didn't speak, just stared at the chair. He looked smaller now. Not physically, but the kind of small that comes from realizing your hero was just another man hiding from consequences. He was my dad, he said. But you were the one who showed up? I didn't reply. Some things aren't answered. They're felt. Cut. The hearing was called to order. Courtroom full. Bryce wasn't there. Serena wasn't either. But Marcus was. Back row. Sunglasses. Still playing ghost. I placed the chair in front of the judge. Sat. Calm, centered. Then I pulled out the flash drive and passed it to the bailiff. Your Honor, I said, this isn't just evidence of fraud. It's a confession buried inside legacy. The screen lit up. Bryce's face filled the courtroom. This will get me killed, the recording began. But maybe that's the cost of finally being a father. He detailed everything. Shell companies, offshore accounts, Serena's role, Marcus's threats, and how the chair had been rigged from the start to be the vault. The silence afterward was heavier than any verdict. The judge called a recess. Cut. Outside, media swarmed. I kept walking. Down the courthouse steps. Chair still warm. From where I sat, they shouted questions, cameras flashed. But I didn't stop. Not until I reached the truck. Marley slid in beside me. What's next? She asked. I thought about that. There was no revenge left. No point in bitterness. I'd lost a marriage, a name, years, but not myself. Sometimes surviving is the loudest thing you can do. I looked at her and said, we build something better, without lies. Cut. 6 weeks later, the indictments came down. Bryce was found in a motel outside Albany. Marcus tried to flee through Canada. Failed. Serena never spoke publicly. Her name dissolved from the records, erased by choice or shame. I'll never know. But Logan, he sent me one thing, an envelope. Inside, a photo of the chair, sitting in a restored room. Beside it, a folded note. You sat in it first. You earned it last. Thank you for holding the weight. I didn't cry. Not that day. But something inside me stopped clenching. Cut. I placed the chair in a sunlit corner of my new place. Not because it held memories, because it held lessons. Legacy isn't what we inherit, it's what we carry. And sometimes the only way to find truth is to sit in the silence and listen. Now they all know whose chair this really is.